I was chatting with a buddy the other day who just moved into a new condo and was freaking out about where to stash all his wine bottles, soda cans, and the occasional craft beer keg. He's got a tiny kitchen island and a slim wall that's just begging for something that fits without looking like a freezer in a boutique hotel. I could hear the hesitation in his voice. What if I pick something that looks cheap, or worse, doesn't actually hold the drinks I want without constantly rearranging? That's the exact spot where a dedicated beverage center can either be a game changer or a money-draining mistake. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When I started digging, I realized the Monogram 5.1 Cuff Beverage Center is built for that narrow space scenario. It's a 24-inch wide, panel-ready unit that tucks into a custom cabinet or sits flush with surrounding cabinets, so it blends instead of sticks out. The idea is simple. Give you a sleek, temperature-controlled hub for all your drinks without sacrificing the look of a polished kitchen. But the real question is whether that promise translates into everyday convenience. Let's picture a typical weekend. You're hosting a brunch for 6, and you want to keep a pitcher of fresh orange juice chilled, a few bottles of sparkling water at the perfect fizz, and a couple of chilled roast bottles ready to pour. With this Monogram, the interior lights turn on as soon as you open the door, so you can see exactly where everything sits. The full extension glide racks slide out smoothly, letting you reach the back of the unit without having to yank the door open wide and risk knocking things over. That's a tiny detail that matters when you're juggling plates and napkins in the same moment. The Shatterproof shelves are another practical win. A few users have complained about glass shelves in other beverage centers cracking when they load a heavy case of wine bottles, especially if the bottles are a bit uneven. Monogram shelves are made from a sturdier material that takes the weight without flexing, so you can stack a 6-bottle case of red wine on the lower tier without worrying about a sudden snap. I tested that with a few full cases from my own pantry, and the shelves held up nicely, even after a couple of weeks of daily use. Now, the real hidden trade-off shows up when you think about the panel-ready aspect. Because the unit is designed to be concealed behind a cabinet face, you have to commit to a permanent installation. If you're a renter or someone who likes to reconfigure their kitchen layout every few years, that could be a pain point. The frame does allow you to attach a custom panel, but you'll need basic carpentry skills or a professional to make it look seamless. It's not a plug-and-play appliance you can just roll out of the box and slide onto a countertop. Another practical consideration is temperature control. The beverage center runs on a single thermostat that keeps the entire interior at a consistent chill, generally around 40 F. That's perfect for most drinks, but if you want a specific zone for white wine at 50 F and a colder spot for sodas at 35 F, you're out of luck. Some higher-end beverage coolers offer dual zones, but Monogram keeps it simple. For most everyday entertaining, a single temperature works fine, but power users who separate their beverages by precise temperature might find it limiting. Who should really consider this unit? If you're a homeowner with a narrow wall opening, love a minimalist look, and want a dedicated space for drinks that doesn't dominate your kitchen, this fits the bill. It's especially handy for people who entertain regularly but don't want a full-size fridge taking up floor space. Think of apartment dwellers, condo owners, or anyone who's already got a primary refrigerator and just needs a sidecar for beverages. On the flip side, skip it if you're looking for a versatile fridge that can double as a freezer, or if you need multiple temperature zones. Also, if you're not comfortable with a semi-permanent installation, you might be better off with a freestanding bar fridge that you can move later. The price point sits in the mid-range for specialty beverage centers, so you'll want to be sure the aesthetic and built-in convenience justify the spend over a standard bar fridge. The lit interior is more than just a fancy glow. In a dim kitchen, that light saves you from the "where did that bottle go?" scramble, especially when you're juggling multiple guests. It also makes the unit look like a built-in part of the kitchen rather than a glaring appliance. The smooth glide racks, as I mentioned, are a subtle but important feature. I've had other units where the rack sticks halfway, forcing you to pull it out and wiggle it, which can lead to spills. Monogram's rails glide cleanly, and they're sturdy enough to hold a full case without sagging. One downside I noticed after a month of use is that the door seal, while functional, isn't as tight as a dedicated refrigerator.